I've had several people ask me about my birth with my last baby, and I've been meaning to get this together. I actually already filmed it once, but it never went up. So I'm redoing it for you. Here goes. So I started having contractions Thursday night. Intense contractions that are like, this isn't a Braxton Hick because it's a little bit more painful versus uncomfortable. Something that feels like it's doing something, right? So I started having contractions, and we're trying to clean up because we're wanting our baby to come into this clean house, and it was kind of chaotic because we had just moved. And if you don't already know, I was planning a home birth. So I had the pool set up for weeks. Thursday night, I'm having contractions, right? And they're the kind of contractions that I feel like I had at the end of my last baby's labor. So I'm thinking, great, this labor is going to be even shorter than the last one. I had her in 7 hours, start to finish. So this was already kind of starting out like, all right, we're gonna be getting there soon. It's gonna be quick. And we decided, you know what, we're gonna risk it. We're gonna go out to eat, have a last hurrah before I have baby and won't leave the house for 2 weeks. So we go out to Golden Corral, and I'm having contractions there, and I'm having contractions on the way back, and we decide to stay up, and we're watching a movie because we're thinking things are gonna get going here quickly. And I was at a point mentally where I was like, I don't wanna go to bed. I just wanna have a baby. Eventually, after a couple hours, I gave up and was like, all right, I need to sleep because I need energy to give birth to this baby. So we get in bed, and I'm still having these contractions that are really quite consistent every 5 to 10 minutes and strong. They're strong contractions, and I couldn't sleep all night long. I was having contractions, and it was super frustrating to me because my last baby was 7 hours. Why is this one taking so stinking long? I wasn't used to laboring for that long with those kinds of intense contractions. And I wasn't mentally prepared for it either. Usually if you have a precipitous baby, the next baby's gonna precipitous, it's gonna go quick. So by the next morning, I'm just dead tired. I let it go. Sometimes you labor for a long time. I just went about my day, and we went out shopping, and we were just like doing things, which, think about it. I got my energy back and was shopping and excited. That's totally a precursor to having a baby. We get back, and I'm still having these contractions that are kind of stopping me in my tracks, which I'm just not used to. I was that person who was like, labor is so easy. Why does everybody hate being in labor? I'm repented. So I'm having these contractions all day long, Friday. I get into the evening, I have my husband check position of baby, we check with the Doppler, heartbeat's great, she's in a great position, and we just continue trekking on. I was thinking maybe the reason I'm having this prolonged labor is baby is in a bad position. Sometimes if they're posterior, it can cause more stop and start labor and prolong things, but she was in a great position. So then I called my mom. My mom is a midwife, or was a midwife, and she has great advice and information. And I'm going, Mom, what is going on? This is so long. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I can't do this anymore. This is infuriating. Infuriating. And she tells me to stop focusing on it. I need to just relax. I need to stop trying to keep contractions going because I was walking around and trying to make it pick up. And she's like, just relax. Sit down, get your mind off of it, drink some water, and if all else fails, take a Benadryl, get some sleep. You need some sleep. And while I was pacing on the phone with her, the contractions weren't even phasing me, right? So I'm going, okay, I'm just overreacting. I'm just desperate to have a baby. So we go back to bed. This is Friday night, right? So the night before is when I started having contractions. So Friday night, go back to sleep, or so I think, can't sleep. I'm still having consistent, strong contractions, which are just not fun when you're laying down. I just can't do contractions laying down. Every time I would have a contraction, I would get up on all fours in my bed and rock back and forth. And then I would lay back down and I would doze, and then I would have another contraction, get up, rock back and forth, and then I would doze. And I did this for hours. Eventually it became to the point where I had to stand up and lean against the wall and sway, lay back down, doze, get back up and sway. Sway through my contractions. It gets to the point where I'm like, I'm not getting any more sleep. I feel like this is finally real. I went out into the living room because I wanted Devin to be able to sleep, because I needed him to be coherent to help me through labor. Go out to the living room, I put on my TV show, Eureka, and I lay on the couch and try and kind of doze and rest between contractions and stand up when I have a contraction. And it got to the point where I was leaning over my labor ball, my exercise ball, during contractions and just moving and swaying. I think it might have been around 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. Eventually I went and got Devin up and I was like, all right, this is getting real. I think we're getting close, right? So he comes out and he keeps me company. He also eventually made me food, which was really difficult for me to eat. I'm trying to sip water. I'm just emotionally overwrought at this point because it's a long labor. We're into Saturday morning now, okay? I'm not keeping track of time. I'm not looking at the clock. I honestly don't remember when any of this happened. I was just going through my contractions and just trying to get through. And I had honestly lost all of my mental focus because I was just exhausted from trying to keep labor going and staying up late, and then not really getting much rest between contractions the past couple of nights. So warning signs, just try and sleep through it. Just try and take a nap, eat some food, whatever. Anyway, back into Saturday morning, having contractions that are getting closer and closer together. I had started tracking at some point and just kept checking through. Eventually Lucy woke up and came and kept me company in the living room as well. I had laid out a bunch of towels on the living room floor because I had wanted to try a land birth versus a water birth, because the pool that we had was very large and more shallow, and we just didn't think we had enough hot water to fill it up. I really should have just invested in a good birth pool. Basically, I just was having contractions forever and ever and ever, it felt like. I tried being in the shower, I tried being in the bathtub, I tried leaning over in the bathtub. I was going back and forth from the living room to the kitchen, moving, and I was just in hysterics. Like, think about how I'm telling you I was moving from bedroom to bedroom, from this to that. I was not letting myself relax. The times that I felt like labor was the most bearable and honestly pain-free was when I was leaning over my birthing ball, breathing deeply through contractions, but I'd lost my mind space. Eventually, I'm like, fill up the birth pool, which was this giant endeavor because we had a hose and we had an adapter for the hose, but it didn't fit our shower head, which is usually like the best thing to do is attach it to the shower head, and it didn't fit. And so it was like squirting out the side. So somebody literally had to hold it up there and have the hose in the dining room to fill up the pool. It was a giant disaster. It was so stupid. This is not how my first birth went at all. Please don't let this turn you off of home births or water births. We just were, anyway. So we're filling up the birth pool, and I'm going back and forth from the living room to my bedroom, on my bed, in the toilet, on the toilet, not in the toilet. Eventually I'm really losing that mucus plug with bloody show and all that stuff, and I can feel that there's a head pretty close. And at that point I'm like, I'm getting in the birth pool. So I like ran and just like jumped in the birth pool and like submerged my belly. And that's just like heaven. I love being submerged in the water. It really relieves pain and it's wonderful. Still having contractions, they're getting super, super close, getting a lot closer. I had Katie switch out with Devin. He was holding the hose there, and I was like, Devin, I need you. So he came and he got in the water with me, and then Lucy was in the water with me already. I mean, this is all just a blur of just contractions. Lots of contractions and hysteria, right? I was not in a good mind space, which I've probably said that like a million times, but it's true. So now we're all in the birth pool except for Katie, who was holding the shower head, and eventually the water started getting cold, and that was cooling the temperature in the pool more than I wanted it to be. So we just stopped that and we're like, all right, we'll just deal with like this much water. Like, not good for a water birth. You need to be really fully submerged to get the full effect. But at that point I was desperate. We're all in the birth pool, and I am eventually leaning against the back, close to the windows, kind of in an all fours position, but I was trying to keep my lower half submerged in the water, because when it comes to a water birth, there are several reasons. When the temperature changes, baby takes their first breath, and you don't want them to inhale water. So you want to keep it like water to water. And that was just a bad position for me. I wish I had just stood up. So I'm leaning against the back, and I'm breathing deeply, breathing through contractions. Devin's right there. He's got his hand on my back. He's telling me I'm doing a great job and encouraging me. And I can feel my body start to push, which is called the fetal ejection reflex. So my body's starting to push, and I'm kind of pushing with it. And I did end up pooping. I apologized profusely in the middle of it, and Devin's over here like, it's fine, it's fine. I can feel that baby is so very close, and this is where I made the worst decision ever that has made it really difficult to talk about having this baby, because I knew better. And in my mind, I was telling myself, don't do that, which was push really hard during contractions. Don't do that. There are many reasons why, but the biggest thing is you will tear. You will tear, and that's something that a lot of women are afraid of. Tearing is not just inevitable during birth, but I knew that this is one of those things that was going to cause tearing. I had pushed Lucy out in one fell swoop, and I was just like, I can do it again. Couldn't do it again. I pushed really hard. Baby did come out quite quickly after a couple of like large grunting pushes from me. Devin caught baby, and I immediately flipped around. He gave baby to me. And at this point, I'm just so tired, and all those hormones that come in after having a baby are hitting me, and I'm like, finally, I have this baby in my arms, and I'm just like a blubbering mess, and my sister's taking pictures, and I remember like while I was like pushing was like, take pictures, don't forget to take pictures. So she's taking pictures, and I've got this baby in my arms, and I go to flip them around to the other side. I don't remember why. We had an anatomy scan at 19-20 weeks, and they told us that baby was a girl. And we were super excited. I bought all these girl clothes and things like that. And we were excited to have these sisters, and we've been calling this baby by these her, she, whatever. And then this happened. Those are live pictures from my phone that showed the exact moment when we figured out that this baby was in fact not a girl like we had thought. It was very much a boy, which just blew us out of the water completely. That we ended up with a baby boy when we thought we were having a baby girl. It was one of the crowning moments of the entire birth process, was coming to realize that this baby girl I thought that I was working with to bring her into the world was in fact a baby boy, and totally caught us off guard. Right after that, I ended up latching him on, and he was a master nurser, and I just waited for the placenta to come, and we moved me out of the water into the bedroom and sat there and cuddled for a really long time. And it was about an hour according to the timestamp on the pictures we were taking between the time that he was born and that we cut the cord. He was big old plump and juicy red, which was gorgeous. We didn't intend to wait that long. That's just what ended up happening, and it worked out really great for us. So that was really long-winded. I hope it's not too long when I post it on my channel, but that is my birth story with Logan, our son, our baby boy. Just crazy. It's so weird to say son to me, but yeah, and it was awesome. It took a lot of healing mentally because it was just such a different birth than I expected. Don't put any expectations out there. Roll with the punches and your birth will be awesome. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, if you have any questions, please leave a comment below, like the video, and if you will, subscribe to my channel.